Welcome back, everybody. Yet another episode of Fully Corked. Thank you for tuning in. My name is John, and as always, I am co hosted with Charlie. And I think we've got another good one for you guys today. We're going to be sipping a white wine, which I know Charlie's excited about. He's going to be doing the blind tasting, which I am excited about. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this
I'm
pod.
horrified.
Yeah, he's mortified.
Also, apologies if I mix in a couple sneezes here. Up in Deer Lake in Wisconsin, and my allergies, which I never really have an issue with, were just going crazy. Like, I could not sleep last night. I couldn't breathe through my nose. But more on that on the weekend recap. Where do you want to start, John? Should we go straight into the blind taste test? Should we talk a little bit? Should we warm up so I'm not just feeling so on the spot?
We really have you on the spot here, Charlie.
I'm taking a couple early sips just to try and start working the brain.
Something that we can tell our listeners about that maybe doesn't require a blind tasting is I will introduce the wine and then we can get into your blind tasting. So we are drinking Pine Ridge from Trader Joe's. And this is a Chenin Blanc. It says Chenin Blanc and Viognier. I believe that's how it's said. Viognier. Clearly French.
I'm so happy you're taking the introduction from me. You're doing
Yeah,
great.
you keep sipping your wine and figuring out your blind tasting. But Charlie, as is tradition, where does the Chenin Blanc varietal originate?
That would be originating from the Loire Valley in France. Actually, not too far from what was our wine last week? The Sauvignon Blanc Justin. Yep. It's very close to that, actually, in terms of origination point of the grape.
Charlie, that's exactly correct yet again. A little extra information here. So it is now commonly produced all over the world, but 50% of all Chenin Blanc vineyards are now located in South Africa. So they are just a powerhouse for producing this type of varietal. You'll also find it in France, obviously, and then the United States and Argentina.
This is another bottle. I don't think we selected this based on the bottle, like the art on it, but is another bottle. It kind of exudes a little class. I don't know if this was a spendier bottle or not.
This was like a $11 bottle. It's about a 12% ABV alcohol. So this is like kind of a true white, you know. I'm looking at the color right now. It's on the lighter side,
clearer,
which
than
I'm
most.
excited about because I feel like that's like lighter in sugar, a little drier potentially.
I said this about the last wine when I wasn't doing the blind taste test too. But the first thing here for me is it is acidic. I don't know if you've had a taste of it yet, but that's coming through. I'm trying to parse actual flavor notes, but that's certainly on the lighter side, but like it's got that.
That's awesome you say that, Charlie. And I think we get into your blind tasting now. This is a medium to high acidity wine. So you are humming out of the gate. I think it might be time for some tasting notes, Charlie. What do you think?
All right. Let me get one more sip here.
Going in blind.
Oh man. I suppose again, this venture is close to a bit of a cop out because it is what you ventured at the start of our last one, but it's giving me of any fruit that is present in this, I would be most confident that there is some level of like apple note in here, which is not crazy on a white wine. So it's safe, but that's where I want to start.
Safe. I would say it's a secondary flavor. You're looking maybe more for like baked apple in there, but that's for a more refined palate, which I commend you for that tasting note.
Oh, did you want me to just hit the low-hanging fruit, pun intended? Because I'll get into it. I got maybe
we had a heyday with one of these flavors a few pods ago. Something about this flavor smashing you in the face. That's a hint.
Oh no, are we back on the honeysuckle?
Yeah.
Oh my. How did that sneaky honeysuckle? Is it saying that's like a main flavor?
It's not a main. Well, it's on the main flavor profile for all Chenin Blancs. For this specific one, baked apples is in on this specific one. Like I was looking up like the James Suckling review. I don't know if it was his or like wine.com, but somebody tasted baked apple in there.
If I had to identify another fruit, which I suppose I do, I'd go with pear here. I think. It leans sweeter to me. Like it is a little bit
Yeah.
sweet. That's kind of where my head
It's really
goes
funny
on
you
the
bring
pear
that up.
side.
So pear is not a note,
Okay.
but this is the same trouble I ran into when I was blind tasting the Sauv Blanc. I could not get pear out of my head. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if
getting
that's just like a very standard fruit. I love pears. So I mean,
Oh
and I
yeah.
love wine.
They're
So I guess I put the two together in my head.
yeah. Well, okay. So no
Do you
pear.
want to give it one more shot, one last sip?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So give me a little hint. Am I looking for another fruit? Am I looking for like an herb?
This one is light and bright. Like, think bright fruits, think summertime. You have the honeysuckle note. It's on that sweeter side.
Oh, God, I mean, maybe some round melon.
Oh, yeah, you hit one.
Did I get it?
Let's
Yes.
go.
Big, big. I needed the
Yeah,
confidence
that's big
boost.
time. Wow, well done, Charlie. This is episode
Thank you,
11, and
thank
you're
you.
already ripping. For Chenin Blancs, the major tasting note that you're going to hit is lime. And specifically with this one, it's lime
Oh,
zest,
God.
which I think is kind of a challenging anytime you get, like, a citrusy fruit.
I should have done that when I was talking about the
I
acid, though.
know,
I just
I
wasn't
know. I thought you were gonna hit it once you were talking acid. I was like, "Well, yeah, it's gotta go citrus, so you're either gonna be lemon or lime."
juicy peach, dude. No. No, dude. I was thinking to myself too, when you were saying pear last
Uh-huh.
week and it was peach and it was like, "You're kinda close, like, first 3 letters." I was thinking of going to peach too, but then at that point, it would have been me taking your first 3 guesses again, so I was like, it's just classless. I gotta go with something I could identify. Because to be truth be told, I wasn't gonna go peach because I was picking up any peach. It was just, I figured maybe it was similar to the other one, and I was just scraping the back of my mind for, like, trying to think of any fruit because it definitely wasn't, you know I actually so last week we were talking about, have you eaten any fruit lately? And my answer outside of watermelon was like, really no. But this weekend, I enjoyed so much fruit. It was
No way.
awesome.
It's like a workout for your palate, Charlie.
It was awesome, dude. It reinvigorated my love for strawberries. Just like a lot of fresh, like perfect strawberries sliced. I was at the cabin of a friend, and his family was up there when we went up there to pretty much just like hang out and get on the lake. And his mom was just, I mean, every single meal I had was so good. She was very, very just putting in work in the kitchen and making some awesome stuff. And I usually don't eat breakfast either, but she had this spread of, watermelon, strawberries, blueberries,
Oh my
bananas,
god.
everything you're gonna want, egg bake. And it was just, I mean, it was crazy. It was like maybe the reason I skip breakfast is because my breakfast is like a bowl of dry granola and
Yeah.
like one fried egg. But it was so good. I mean, all of it, especially the strawberries, dude. I don't know if they're in season right now or what was going on with those strawberries, or maybe it was just I hadn't had them in a while, and it just honestly, it kind of blew me away. They were so, so good.
You probably felt amazing all day too, starting your day off with that much sustenance and all that fruit.
For sure, and especially for being on the lake, I feel like it wasn't as drink focused. It was more kind of family vibes and doing like activities and sports and stuff. I kind of against my will, I was initially very like worried about this given kind of my knee issue, and just generally I suck at any sport that involves balance. Um
You're talking water sports specifically, like water skiing,
well, I mean
tubing?
like skateboarding, things like that. Well, I'm referring to all balance requiring sports, like even like two-wheeled vehicles. Like I don't like biking, for example.
Honestly, Charlie, me
But
neither. Like that's a secret about me that I've been
well, it
gatekeeping,
scares
but
me,
yeah,
and
I'm not super balanced as a human.
I have bad experiences too. Like I had bike crashes when I was a kid. I crashed a moped in college. Or like crash is an exaggeration, but like, mishandled a moped and fell
I
over on
crashed a
it.
moped as well.
But anyway, so we're on a wake surfing. Everybody, I was with 3 other people, and they were all giving it a go, and they were like, "Yeah, you got to try it. You got to try it." And I was like, I'm not so sure." And then ultimately was just like, "Okay, looks easy enough. Like these guys are making it look simple." And so get out there. and probably have like 3, 4. Probably like 6 or 7 times where I fail to stand up and like really like even do any surfing. Because to be fair, like all foreign to me, first time, whatever. But
This is wake surfing.
yes, so you're holding onto a rope with like a little mini wake surfboard, and then the boat takes
Yep.
off, and that momentum pulls you up, and then you're just kind of like vibing on the wake.
This is a sport
And
I
like
am
somebody who's
not good
good at
at,
it,
by the way. I've tried this, and I think it took me like 10 times to get up. And then, like the good wake surfers can go out of the wake. They can kind of spin around. You can toss them a beer and they'll catch it and drink it. Like,
and they get rid of the rope
yep.
right away too. And I like kind of needed
Yeah.
that
So you
rope.
got
Like that
up though.
rope was the only thing. Yeah. So, and I was like kind of ants in my pants too, because this wasn't the family's boat. Like they had brought us to this other guy who had this really nice wake surfing boat, and was knew what the hell was
Mhm.
going on in wake surfing. And so it's kind of like, man, like, am I testing this guy's patience by being such a jackass back here? Like I can't even stand up. All my boys get it on their first
No.
try. Well, and like two of them, at least two of the three had done it before. But like, first rip from the guy whose family we were going up, gets up, is doing all kinds of like tricks on the wake, throws back the rope immediately, and I'm like, this shit is gonna be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. You see somebody do it and you're like, this just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's so simple. You just lean back and then you sit, you're up on the wave. And so then like finally, and so I was kind of saying to them, like, if anybody else wants to go, like very sheepishly, because I was like kind of like put me out of my misery. But then they were like, no, 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 you gotta get it, you gotta get up and like ride. And so then it finally happened. It was a glorious moment. I guess it's hard to guess how long I was actually up and like doing stuff, but I'm happy they pushed me to continue to try, because it was a ton of fun when I
Mhm.
got up. I had a couple good moments on the board. I took one of my hands off the rope. I was waving at a passing by boat, which was like kind of fun. It's like, whoa, I don't even need both hands. That's how good I am. And then they were like blaring music too. And so I was like kind of dancing on the board, went into the wake a little bit, tried my luck, and then call it a couple minutes later, just mishandled or missteered with my back
Mm.
foot, so got out of control and wiped out. But I'm convinced I was then the next morning, which is this morning at 6 a.m. I leave our kind of bunkhouse and go into the main house, and the dad of the family was up. It's like super early, and he was impressed. He was like, "Whoa, you're already up! Like, awesome, good for you." And I went in there to try and like just get a bunch of Kleenexes to blow my nose,
Oh
and
yeah,
maybe if there
because of
was like
your
a Zyrtec
allergies.
lying
Yeah.
around. Yeah, I was like, I cannot sleep. I'm dying. And so it was kind of shameful, because I felt he was impressed by my, early riser status. And then I just grabbed a bunch of Kleenexes, blew my nose a bunch of times, and then like went and passed out again.
He was ready to sit down and have that nice, crisp early morning coffee with you. Do
Yeah.
you think this dad drinks his coffee black?
Without a
Yeah.
doubt. This dad is a badass, and no nonsense. But all in all, the weekend was great. Got some spike ball, beersby, darts, bags, like the whole 9 yards. Very awesome cabin experience. Got a ton of sun. So it was great. Great weekend. Much needed. And yeah, and then we did 12 miles this morning
Wow.
too, which was like not great in a way, because the knee thing kind of re-aggravated again at 10 miles, and it was feeling really good like the rest of the week.
So you had 10 like pain-free miles?
Pretty good.
Mm.
Like I could kind of feel it changing my form a little bit to try and bring some stress off of it. And my current theory is I need to, in the 2 weeks before the marathon, like lift some like hamstring specific lifts, like try and strengthen my right hamstring, because this is really no research, but we were kind of talking about it at the cold plunge, and one of my buddies was like, yeah, it's probably a hamstring thing, because if I were to raise my heel to my ass right
Mhm.
now, like that would be sharp pain. Like that's the movement that hurts my
Yikes.
knee. Something to think about. It's a little spooky, but I'm happy I got the 12, and we just rehab a little bit this week and do the best we can to show up all right on race day.
Oh, let's go. Hey, by the way, I'm revisiting this wine, this Chenin Blanc. Ever
Mhm.
since I read the tasting notes, I can't get it out of my head that I'm getting smashed with some peach.
Oh, the peach.
Smashing myself with the peach, and then I do get the lemon zest. Like, give it another try and just see. This is specifically for Pine Ridge.
Lemon or lime zest?
Lime. Specifically for Pine Ridge, I guess they have, like, kind of this, like, honey taste that lingers on the palate that's I guess they're what they're known for with their Chenin Blancs, so I'm assuming that's the honeysuckle.
I'm seeing on the back honeyed citrus fruit, soft floral. Dude, one of these days I'm gonna get the floral note. This is not even describing it, but I'm sure if you went online and looked up like the actual taste palette, that's the really impressive stuff. Somewhere hidden in the
Yeah.
mid palate, there's like a note of lavender that you find.
Yeah.
That's my goal. One of these blind taste tests, I'll see
Similar
if
to
I can do
last week where we were tasting limestone in our tasting notes, like,
it.
what
Yeah,
the hell
dude.
type of food or just, like, things do we need to be, like, taste testing? Like, I'm gonna start huffing lavender.
I'm down to huff some
It might be
stuff.
just the smell. Obviously, you can't taste limestone, I guess, safely or sanitarily, so it's probably it but then on the flip side, like, are you a som and you're just, like, up against, like, a rock formation, like, just sniffing it? Or, like, down in the soil, like, just taking a big heaping smell?
That could be the type of Psalms that we become, just, like, kind of creepers out in
New
nature.
age soms. Yeah, we're just lurking around in your forest.
That would be a good hobby for me after the marathon. I'm kind of, like, looking for something. I don't know, dude, like, the way this thing is going with the knee, it's rehabbing is gonna be my pastime, at least for a little bit. Alright, so how about you? How was the weekend?
Good weekend for me. Had a funny call with my brother, Andy. Every once in a while, we'll call and catch up. And this weekend, I'm going to be in San Diego with him. We're going to be playing some tennis, which I'm very excited for. Had to
Mhm.
talk some shit, all that good stuff. But he just casually dropped that he last weekend fasted for 86 hours straight.
How do you say it? It went. I've actually that's on my IG feed sometimes. Like, there's a lot of benefits to it. I just feel like it would be really hard to execute in a safe
Yeah,
way.
so I Googled it and it really just led me to a TikTok of Dana White like explaining.
Oh my god, I know exactly what you're talking about too. For the listener, I'm a big UFC fan, so I see everything he does. I also think he's a scumbag, but
Yeah, so
continue.
Dana White, big name in UFC. He basically just goes, "Yeah, there's a bunch of doctors that like have looked into this and recommended it, but he's like apparently gives you a 70% chance of not getting cancer or Alzheimer's."
Is it that or is it a reduction thing? It would be like preventative in terms
That's not
of
the way he framed it. He said a 70% chance to not get cancer or Alzheimer's.
that I'm curious what your innate chances are without doing the fast then because that could be great or terrible, you know? Like, I don't assume I have a 30% chance to get cancer or Alzheimer's right
I don't
now.
either, but like that has your baseline would have to be higher than that, I suppose.
Dude, I'd do it with you, and then we break the fast with a huge glass of some wine and go on a pod, and we're both, like, have totally sunken eyes and can barely even speak.
How about we start the minute you end your marathon? We go into 86
Oh
straight hours of
god,
no food.
dude.
I would do that. If you're in it with me, like Andy said he felt amazing. Apparently you get shredded because you're not putting anything in your body. But here's how it works. First 24 hours, you just drink water. You can have electrolytes in that water. And then the next
Mhm.
day, and then each day thereafter, you are able to drink bone broth twice per day. And I guess there's a super clean bone broth, 45 calories and like 13 grams of protein that you drink.
I think it's called, like, Kettle and Fire.
Yeah.
I've seen it
Yeah,
around,
you've seen
something like
this.
that.
So, but dude, this is
Yeah.
basically a 3.5 day fast, which is wild. And my brother said the first day was the hardest because your body is
Mhm.
like super upset. It's like you should have had your breakfast.
Yeah, where's the
Where's your
food, dude?
lunch? Like,
What's going
why are we
on?
not having dinner? And so he said he was
Yeah.
like in pain and it was like awful. And then he said by the last day, he like wasn't hungry, which I find crazy given what I'm about to share. But he said that like he got a workout in and he was kind of like, yeah, like I can live off less food, whatever. But he said his first
Mhm.
meal back was Chipotle and he said he was so excited to be eating that like when the food first hit his palate, like he literally shed a tear. He was so happy. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Dude, I think the hardest part would be, and it kinda lines up with his experience, that first sleep, because it's really hard to sleep when you're starving. Like, you wanna go get some sustenance and, like, I don't know, dude, I feel like that would be very troubled. I think that's right, though. I mean, I've certainly done some intermittent fasting, and I think that his conclusion is good. I mean, like, we probably need less food, and especially if you eat like a really like good nutritious diet, which, as I've demonstrated by my lack of fruit and vegetables, I don't. It would be interesting to do it. I'd probably have to like tell everybody in my family and my close friends, like, don't reach out to me, I'm gonna be an asshole for
Yeah.
about
I'm
86
gonna have to, like,
hours.
take
But
PTO and, like, same thing, just lock myself in a dark room.
what would we do if me and you were doing it together? We're in the same location. What, did we just play chess?
No, the masochist in me wants to rewatch season 14 of Top Chef.
Oh, yeah, no, that, oh my god, I just put that together. Yeah, have all that beautiful food sliding in front of you. Dude, maybe no, I think we watch Fear Factor. We watch
Ooh,
people just doing disgusting things, and or maybe you go, the true, like, stoic way and, like, read, like, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius
War and
and
Peace.
kinda get in your mental bag.
I wonder what it would do for chess. Like, obviously, like, a mentally taxing sport where I think isn't it like you burn a ton of calories or something?
It's that's, like, pros who have been, like, monitored doing it. I think, like, someone like you and me might burn, like, a little bit less calories because 'cause we're not thinking as hard, but
It's like 1,000 calories for the pros though, isn't it?
yeah, it's something crazy. It's some like, they all lose weight in the World Chess Championships because they're so locked in, and also, like, I mean, it's just a super high stress thing. Like, any one errant or loose move can cost you the entire tournament. So,
If me and you are already
um
fasting and then we're just locked in playing chess, like, we need to do something lighter on the mental.
God, we couldn't do, like, tennis
No.
either, it's just too much work. What about, like, checkers or something stupid?
Then I'd
Like,
just be
just
pissed
kind of,
though. Like, that's no fun.
yeah, I would too, it's not a fun, dude, you know what I, oh! Okay, we couldn't do this because it's not one-on-one, but, have you ever played Bananagrams?
Yeah.
So, I was playing a lot of that this weekend too, and it is another just awesome kind of family experience,
Scrabble
you know? It's, like,
adjacent.
fun to win, and it's fun to, iron sharpens iron when you're playing with really good people, so it's fun to, like, the race of it all, but it does suffer from the same issues that Scrabble does where, there's words that are words,
Mhm.
like, the two-letter word QI is a Merriam-Webster dictionary word. It's just total bullshit,
Yeah.
like, it's hard to draw the
Or like
line of
Z,
what should be
XE.
playable.
I love
Yes.
that one so much.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, that is kind of the issue, but I thought we were up there, relatively good, spirit of the game, sportsmanship, which was good. So Andy fasted, what else was going on?
This was actually 2 weekends ago, but it forked into a few different experiences I'll share. I went to the San Francisco Zoo, and that was kind of fun for me as a avid animal lover. Like, you know that I like going to the aquarium here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I figured, like, why not check out the zoo? And so I went on a Saturday. It's actually super cool. It's down, we have this beach called Ocean Beach, and it's basically like kind of like Southwest San Francisco, and you're right on the Pacific Ocean. Like, that's where the zoo sits. And we pull up, it's like a high wave time of year. So, like, the waves were super choppy, the wind was blowing. And then we get inside the zoo, and it's just like gorgeous. Like, I'd almost liken it to like botanical gardens where you have all these like really pretty Pacific Northwest trees. It's a smaller zoo, but all the exhibits are like really well thought out, and it's all about the user experience. I mean, I'm sure it's all about the animals, but like the vantage points I was able to see were amazing. And the exhibit that I was specifically interested in was the grizzly bear exhibit. The way that they have their grizzly exhibit set up is it's just all plexiglass. The bears can walk literally a foot in between you and the plexiglass. There were two out there and they were super active, and I had like Lindy, and I was like a kid in a candy store, and I like had grabbed her arm. I was like, "Hey, like, let's go like track this grizzly or whatever." And so we start following it, and it's like right next to us up against the glass. And then I see like a curve coming up where I have like a blind spot, and that's where the bear's walking. And all of a sudden, like, as I'm tracking, like, the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and I start, like, trying to peer around this corner, like, holding Lindy back, because like, in my head, I was like, "Oh, fuck, this grizzly is just walking
There's a
straight
bear.
out of this cage." Have you ever seen a grizzly in real life?
No, no, no,
Dude,
no.
they're huge. I mean, you hear about, like, the bears or whatever, it's like the black bears, if you see one in the wild, you're supposed to get big, loud, scare it away. The grizzly, you're supposed to play dead because, like, you can't run from them, and then I guess the polar bear, if a polar bear sees you and you're not protected, like, you're lunch. Yeah.
You're dead. Dude, here's a grizzly bear thing. So the play dead thing is best practice, but like a cat, a grizzly bear will often you need to continue playing dead when it bats you around too, because it like comes in like kind of you know how like a cat would play with a dead mouse where it like hits it around a little bit with its
Uh-huh.
paws or something just to be like, are you really dead?
Yeah, so that was kinda my zoo experience. San Francisco Zoo, great place, great for the animals. Last thing of note is not really zoo related, but it's kind of like human animal crossover related. I was
Hmm.
on a call with a friend and he brought up that there's like a group of blind people, and specifically like this one blind person that taught himself echolocation, like how bats use or like porpoises
Yeah.
use underwater.
Snakes do that too, don't
Maybe.
they?
I'm not sure about them, but it's like that clicking, and it's usually blind animals that can kind of like send sonar or radar, and it bounces off all these objects. And apparently humans can learn echolocation as well.
Wow.
There's data, well, not just data, there's like documentaries, etc., or like little shorts like backing it up where you see some of these people doing this, and it's like truly an incredible feat.
Well, what noise do they make when they're sending
You have
out
to
an
click.
so it's like a
Yeah, I mean, what I saw is it can be a really
like,
light.
could you scream "Go Vikings" and that would not work for
It
echolocation?
might, honestly. I think to each their own. That would be a very exhausting
Yeah.
way to echolocate, though.
Speaking of the underwater sonar, apparently, I believe it's what's the biggest whale? Do you know off the top of your
The
head?
blue whale.
The blue whale. So if a swimmer, like a human diver is near a blue whale and it does its
Mhm.
sonar thing, it'll also do this to fish too, apparently. It will the pressure and the noise of it is so intense that it will rupture humans' internal organs if they're within like 10 feet of the whale when it emits its noise. I was watching Planet Earth the other week. Dude, the other thing that was crazy. So you and Lindy were in Japan and you interacted with those monkeys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So another human animal interaction that's really funny is, or I mean, God, it would be a nuisance if it happened to you. But these monkeys, I don't remember where, have been trained to take things from humans. And what was clipped in the show was like them taking sunglasses, flip flops, phones. They take them and they do not run. They do not throw them away. They hold them away from you until you give them a fruit, and then they drop it. And
No
so
way.
they've been trained, like, that's how they eat, is, like, they sneak around and then steal something and then return it.
You say they've been trained, but, like, that's by other monkeys in their monkey
Correct,
horde.
correct, not by human like, unless there's, like, a thieves guild of humans in this area who have taught them to do this, but it seems like just, like, a survival thing.
Honestly, you could kinda pull that off if you, like, found a way to harness the power of, like, a guild of thieving monkeys, and you
Yeah.
just sicked them on a bunch of tourists, and, like, they were just stealing iPhones and stuff.
Dude, I mean, sleep with one eye open, though, because how do you know those monkeys aren't gonna turn around and do it to you?
You better have a lot of fruit.
Yeah, yeah, but then they're just they well, yeah, yeah, could work, could work.
Oh, dude, random fact. This will pertain to you. Do you know that red-haired people require about 20% more
Pain
anesthesia?
medicine, yes, yes, we have a higher pain tolerance.
That's crazy. Dude,
Yeah.
imagine if I had your lingering knee issue right now. I'd probably be, like, screaming and crying and on crutches.
I don't know, dude. My 2 peers who I'm running with kind of think I'm a little baby right now, and I'm telling them I wouldn't be complaining about it if I thought it was like a routine strain or like, it's not muscle soreness. But yeah, dude, I read that a long time ago and I kind of, I believe it because I have the experience of one person and I'm pretty tough. I'm like at least 20% tougher than
20% more
yeah,
hard than the average human.
yeah. No, I think that's right. I think that's right. So I guess this is gonna put me into a YouTube wormhole later. I gotta look at the echolocation.
Yeah, a lot of interesting niche information being traded on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Dude, Planet Earth and Blue World, all of them, highly recommend to anybody. Like, so cool. If you have any care about like the most amazing things in the natural world, like it's just awesome. And David Attenborough is so good in that
He's still
role.
kicking, bro. He's like
Yeah, super
90,
old.
he's like late 90s, I think, and he's still just like ripping these nature documentaries. I mean, I actually just watched one on our national parks that Barack Obama is narrating,
Really?
and it's
Oh, another
awesome.
super strong voice there.
Yep.
He was I mean, amongst a lot of things I liked with him as the president, like kind of brought it back to having an awesome speaker, like a truly eloquent leader was
Yeah.
like a
If the president to nature documentary narrator pipeline is real, like he's going to be the one to do it. And
I
I'm
might have
here
to
for it.
become president in order to get the qualifications to be the next David Attenborough.
Yeah. David had it the easiest. Now you need to be a world leader.
Okay. Do you want to move back to where we left off on the last pod in
Yeah,
the
let's do it. So this segment is one that we had in the last pod, and we just kind of ran out of time by nature of it. And this is where Charlie and I have prepared random questions, and it's similar to the blind tasting where neither of us has any idea what we are going to ask. And Charlie, I think you're up.
Okay, here's one. What is the worst gift you've ever received?
Oh no. It doesn't paint me in the best light that I'm upset
Sure.
about this,
Mine is going to do exactly what yours is about to do. It's like biting the hand that feeds. It's a bad look, but
but here we go. So I'm a summer birthday.
mhm.
And when we were younger, like, I was lucky where we'd always take as a family, like, one trip every summer, and this specific trip was honestly dope. I believe we were taking an RV, and we were driving, like, through in from Minnesota, and we were driving through, like, the Badlands of, South Dakota and, like, driving into Montana, Wyoming. Technically, that was
Sounds like
over
the
my
opportunity of a
birthday.
lifetime.
Exactly, and it's awesome, but all my other siblings got to go on the same exact opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like we were
So
celebrating
it
me.
didn't feel like a gift to you.
Right,
Okay.
clearly it was. I do feel bad, but I remember that specific birthday, they forgot to get me presents, and so, what do you do when you're in the middle of South Dakota on a road trip and you just, like, don't have any presents for your kid? Well, you go to Walmart and you just go find whatever you possibly can, and so I
Mhm.
received a bag of nacho flavored Doritos and a bag of Cool Ranch flavored Doritos. That was my present.
How old were you? How old were you? This matters.
Probably like 11 or 12, like
Yeah.
younger.
Well, presents, they mean so much to you at that time because you
Yeah.
don't have money to go get
No,
whatever you want.
it's like one of 2 times a year that you can, like, get what you want. And so, like, I squandered that opportunity right there.
It's a shitty question, dude. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I
what's
know
hey,
I'm
what's
the guy who
yours? Like,
provided it, but, like, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure what I was hoping you would answer,
I didn't
but
have to give you the whole backstory either. I'm kinda realizing, like, all I had to say is I got Doritos one year.
mine's bad too. Don't worry. I got a good one for you. So, my dad, um, and multiple birthday well, my birthday is 5 days after Christmas. So, it's hard to tell exactly what gift is assigned to what period some like most years. But my dad, in 2 consecutive years, I've never in my entire life, to all the listeners, including my dad, I've never expressed an interest in bread making or baking. And so one year, my dad gets me a bread making book that's like 150 pages of literature about how to best prepare and execute various types of bread. And so that was hard for me as a teenager to receive that gift because I was like, what the hell tipped you off in order to think this is something I might want? And so naturally, I never
What
touched the
kinda
book.
hints were you dropping? Like, were you at, like, an Olive Garden just like, "Oh,
I
these
mean,
breadsticks are
I was very
amazing."
like overweight child, but I don't think like, it's not like he got me, like, a book on, like, how to make candy, like, but anyway, fall next year, he gets me, like I think they're called, like, yeast kits or something, like,
No,
to,
he
like,
like a
literally
second birthday, you got bread
yes,
related
yes, dude.
presents.
Another bread thing, and I was just like I couldn't believe it. Because I'm pretty sure I was bitching and moaning about the bread book. I know myself, like, I would complain, I mean, less so now. I think I'd, like, smile and say thanks and, like, kinda just be in the back of my head, be like, "Ugh," these days, but as a kid, I'd be like, "What the hell is this shit?" And so yeah, then I got a yeast kit, and now you fast forward maybe 12 years after that, and this is not a gift, but one of the things he'll do, which is more fun now because it's like I don't expect anything really for gifts, and this isn't a gift thing, but for all of our family gatherings, or like if we're going to a party together or something like that, he will say in the group chat of people, me and Charlie we're gonna make some bread, bring it over. We're gonna make like he like always is trying to bake with me, which is cool. Like I like doing it.
Yeah, now.
Exactly. Like it was a gift, it was a futuristic gift. It was a gift that came too soon. I wasn't ready to accept a gift like that at that time. I would say that is the worst gift I've ever received. Another kind of like runner up would be all of my cousins from my grandpa got like $50 or like $100 and like a check. And then my grandpa gave me a Bible because I guess he thought I was like troubled. So he was making me spiritually wealthy, I suppose. It doesn't align with like how I thought I was broadcasting my interests. This is not a gift, but another initiative led by my father at one point when I was in like early high school is he goes, "You don't do anything with the women in our family, and you need to spend more time and like do hobbies with them." And so with my mom, I was doing core power yoga for a little bit, which was super cool. Like that was a very good suggestion that I was into, and eventually the interest tapered off, and I'm sure my mom was like, "I do yoga to get away from you idiots, not spend more time."
Yeah.
um and so that was good. And the other one was, what's the term, it's not sewing, knitting. He
You were
wanted me to start.
knitting?
Yeah, yeah.
What have you
What,
knit?
I never got anything done. I was like making like squares, that like really didn't have like an end goal, but something to do with my grandma. So I mean, again, that was another kind of like
Did you
good
guys have, like,
wholesome
good
suggestion.
conversation, or is knitting more of, like, a focus thing?
It was good conversation. I mean, like I couldn't do both. Like I'd probably put down my needles when I was doing that, but the real benefit was my grandma loved backgammon, and so do I.
Mm.
Or like cards. She liked a lot of card games too. But anyway, what's your next question?
My question for you is, if you could change one thing about you, mental, physical, interpersonal.
I'd be 6'4", I think, for sure. And just for the rapid fire aspect, I would love to be really tall. It's something I look up to, literally and figuratively, like other people who are tall. Whenever I see tall people, I'm like, man, that must be sweet. At concerts, super valuable. If you're playing basketball, you can throw it down.
Why stop at 6'4"?
It's a good question. That's the first height that jumped into my mind because it's tall enough to be like, whoa, that dude is tall. But you're not in like kind of freaky height zone where like airplanes suck like super bad and like you got to duck your head going through doorways and stuff. 6'4" is probably on like the later end of clothes. Like you don't have to go look for like custom big and tall clothes type thing.
Mm,
So it's like
mhm.
the end of like normalcy in height. Perhaps. I'm not sure. I've never been 6'4", so I'm not positive. And that is like a super shallow gut reaction, but I would love to be taller. I might revise my answer, offer a more thoughtful one when you give yours, but I wanted to honor the quick fires. Before you even finished it, I knew that that was something that I'd like.
I think if you're gonna be 6'4", I'd wanna be
Don't
6'5".
say, oh my, I knew this was coming. You scumbag,
And I
dude.
wanna be 6'5" for all of the reasons that you listed, and then I'd also be 1 inch taller than you, so that when people are like, "Oh, wow, like, look at Charlie, he's huge," and then I just show up looking 1 inch taller, just even that much bigger,
That
all
is
eyes are
not
on
that's
me.
not cool, dude.
Yeah, that's about
I
as
don't even know what
vain
to
of a
say
response
about
as I
that.
get.
I don't even know what to say about that other than that's not cool. So the so okay, so you'd be 1 inch taller than me at whatever height I'd like to be. I do have one more question. This is a good one. It actually kinda steps on the toes a little bit of what you had as the segment that we're not gonna get to today. So this is gonna kinda work out nicely.
Mhm.
If you ruled the world, who would you appoint to be your top advisor?
Whoa.
Don't go family. I wanna go family, don't go family. I'm not going to, I'm saying, like, obviously, it's, like, easy and sensible to be like your brother, your father, Lindy,
So
but
here's my thought process. It absolutely has to be somebody you trust.
can be also, mind you, live or dead, real or fiction. Can be
Oh,
anyone,
come
anything.
on. Live or dead? Yeah. Okay. So if I'm actually ruling the world, I want the first Chinese emperor that like ruled for a long time. Cause back in like the Chinese history, like a lot of those like dynasties were like getting overthrown constantly. Like people had to constantly be looking over their shoulder because they were getting assassinated, they were getting sabotaged, whatever. I'd have to go. It's probably like the Qin dynasty. You know what? I'm just gonna go the most prolific leader from the Qin dynasty.
Okay.
Whoever that might be, that's gonna be my
You're taking
advisor.
them. You're
Yeah,
taking them off the board. Damn it. That was my number 1.
that is so niche. I might want to revisit that.
Yeah, no, we'll have a chance. We can venture a couple. Do you want I have a fiction one I wanna share that's very much in line with your loyalty piece, but I can start with real humans too.
You should start with your fiction one.
Okay, so I will take and I'm not a big Lord of the Rings person, but I was thinking about loyalty. And who is more loyal than Samwise Gamgee? Like, so
Wow.
he's accompanying Frodo on this whole mission. Frodo sucks. Like he's corrupted by the ring. He's doing all sorts of crazy shit. He's smoking the pipe with Gandalf. Like he's not really like all that admirable to me. But at no moment in the struggle does Samwise turn his back, do anything but support him completely. And that also includes bringing up to him when he's corrupted and doing something wrong. Hey, reality check. Get back on track. You're kind of like losing your mind right now. So it's loyalty that is not just yes man loyalty. This is like
Mhm.
somebody who deeply cares about you. And in terms of presenting a unified front, a unified world, he's kind of a soft enough figure that like he's hard to hate. He's
Mhm.
not intimidating people. He's not, rubbing people the wrong way. So that's my fictional one I want. And it's mostly on the loyalty piece. You need somebody you can trust. You need somebody who has your best interests at heart. And so that's my pick.
I'm just slightly changing mine. So I just while you were telling that story, I Googled what was the longest standing Chinese dynasty. It turns out it's the Zhao dynasty. And it sounds like King Wu was the greatest ruler of the
You're
Zhao
getting Wu?
dynasty. Yeah, I'm getting Wu.
Okay. There might be like a bit of a language barrier, but
Well, I have an interpreter too.
yeah.
Wait, yeah. Okay. You know what? Scratch that. My advisor needs to speak English because I wouldn't want anybody to
Misrepresent.
misrepresent what I'm trying to say, which comes back to a trust thing. But then you say like no family, but it's like, how do you actually like say you actually rose to like world ruler status? Like you
Dude,
have
that's why
all of the
nepotism is
power,
such a thing.
even in nepotism. Like, then I mean, I'm sure there's times in history where like brothers have killed other brothers or
For sure,
fathers.
dude.
Like,
True power truly corrupts.
so you're bringing a guy from Lord of the Rings. I'm bringing an ancient Chinese ruler.
No. I got a real world answer too. You want mine? I'm taking Danny DeVito. So Danny is awesome. And I was thinking about this. The other angle I'd like is other than just loyalty. That's his loyalty is uncertain to me. But what DeVito has is something you need if you're going to rule the world, which is universal approval. Who
Mm,
doesn't like Danny DeVito? He's hilarious. He's fun. He's wise. He's seen a lot of things. I could learn a lot from him. He could help inform various policy. He's seen enough success and failure in leadership positions to kind of have a good vantage point there. And he is central to my favorite TV show of all time. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's also in one of my favorite movies of all time, The One Who Flew Over the. Oh, now I'm gonna fuck up the title.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That movie, very sad movie, but very
Oh yeah.
good movie.
Good movie though.
And so, yeah, DeVito, he's also brings a levity to the role that I think like major offices have kind of failed. I mean, honestly, I am not at all a Trump person. He kind of, I think people on the right really do think he's got levity and he's fun and funny. I can't totally get there with him, but not to make this like a political firestorm thing, but DeVito would bring some fun back to the office, which is great.
Because you're not fun enough as a world leader.
Well, and the other thing I was thinking about,
Are
when I
you
was trying
thinking
to
like
parse
court
through this
jester
is-
vibes? Like that's what I'm getting from Danny DeVito. Like
No,
what happens when
DeVito-
he's whispering in your ear about like some foreign policy and it just sounds hilarious and you laugh out loud? I mean, don't you run that risk?
But if I'm a world leader, I don't, we create all the policies. So I don't think I would. Well, yeah, it would be an issue. It would be an issue.
What
Point
policy
taken.
initiative do you think Danny DeVito would be able to advise you on?
I think he would be good with All Matters War because he has been alive for so many huge international conflicts that, his sage wisdom there, I think, would guide me away from any sort of idea that would lead to conflict. And ultimately, in my reign as ruler, I'm a very conflict averse person. Like, I don't want war, I don't want turmoil. I think we'd probably go like a very peaceful route, kind of equitous. Probably the taxes under my reign would be far too high for people's liking. That might be like a big complaint.
Why are you already increasing taxes?
Well, I'm bringing taxes up because we need infrastructure and programs to build equity in this world. I'm assuming we're picking up a world not unlike the one today, and so we need some of the people in companies who are making a shitload of money, and like the Elons and like.
I would immediately try to go to space and just colonize space.
Oh, so you're taking Elon?
I don't think I'm taking Elon. Bezos crossed my mind.
No, you can't take Bezos, dude. He already does rule the world. So he would have experience. That's good.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Charlie, that's a pretty good stopping point. The one thing I wanted to address before we end this pod is going back to the Pine Ridge. Do you have any last lingering thoughts on this? And I'll let you take another sip as I read off just some of the other tasting notes. So this Chenin Blanc varietal is high in acidity. It has low to medium body, low tannins, and it's a drier wine with a 12% ABV.
I kind of like. I mean, you mentioned the low tannins. I'm enjoying it. It's not to say the taste is not good. Quite the opposite. I actually have enjoyed this wine quite a bit. But I like that it's a pretty clean and quick finish. It's not lingering. I feel like it would pair well with a lot of different foods. Like spicy. I mean, it's on the back cover, so it's like kind of cheating, but like a spicy food, like kind of a bit of a palate cleanser as you're working through that.
This is what we were supposed to pair with a Crunchwrap Supreme.
Oh, yeah. What did I say? A Tempranillo?
The actual wine you should pair with a Crunchwrap Supreme is a Chenin Blanc because it handles the spiciness well. This also pairs well with Southeast Asian cuisine, pork chops. You could actually serve this with Thanksgiving dinner.
Dude, give me a little pork belly with this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And then the Pine Ridge winemaker, Colleen Fitzgerald, recommends pairing this specific Chenin Blanc with curry, barbecue, or anything spicy.
That is quite a range of things. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, the pairing of a Crunchwrap and this wine, because that's me and DeVito's first order of business when we get into office. You know how Trump did like the Trump bucks where everybody got like a little payout for COVID?
Yeah.
I think we just send a bottle of Pine Ridge to everyone's door and like, a little Crunchwrap meal and just say, hey everybody, we want to get off on a good foot. Here's a little meal, a little drink for y'all, and we appreciate your continued support as we rule the world.
Tax you to all hell.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah,
Your tax money paid for
Please
this.
don't look at your tax assessments this year, as it will be backbreaking. But enjoy one bottle of wine and a Crunchwrap Supreme. All right. Well, hey, thank you to all the listeners. As always, please like, subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Support is much appreciated. Also, check us out on Instagram at Fully Corked, TikTok, same username there. Vivino, our wine tracking app, and we'd love to hear more recommendations.
Yep.
We loaded up on our last run to the store. We grabbed a handful of bottles so that we could stop going to Trader Joe's every day of the week. And so we are on the lookout for more recommendations. So if it's a wine recommendation, if it's a topic recommendation, you're looking for advice on something, please reach out to us. We love interacting with the fans and bringing fans. It sounds so presumptuous. Listeners. Listeners. I'm already in like the rule of the world mindset. All of my loyal fans. And yeah, no, it's awesome. So I appreciate the support. And yeah, anything else, John?
No, that sums it up beautifully. Yeah, we love any interaction. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Tune in next week. We'll hopefully bring another banger for you. And yeah, we love you. We'll see you later.
Love you guys.